Good morning, Happy New Year. Welcome everyone to our 2018 first meeting of the new year, of the Downtown Lexington Management District. We'll call the meeting to order. There is a sign-in sheet being passed around. Please execute where indicated if you would. We have a little different format today, thanks to Brother Sweeney over here. So I'm going to just start with his agenda, and we will, I guess, we'll have some motions here. First motion would be to approve the minutes of the December 6, 2017 meeting. You should have those in your package.
Second.
Okay, I've also been told we're going to do all these together, I've been told, so I'm a slow learner, I'll get there. So the next motion, we'll do these all at one time. The next would be a motion to approve the financial statements, which, Steve, you want to kind of just make a quick presentation on?
Yes, well, not much has changed except we have money flowing in there, which is good. I think we actually end up having kind of a 100,000 left over from last year, so you'll see the December 17th for 268, then January 74,000. I think we're anticipating about 440,000 coming in through the collections for this year. On the expense side, very standard stuff, the management by block, the DLC management fee. They're pretty straightforward. So we're in pretty good financial shape currently. So,
Any questions of Steve? Yeah, the money is starting to come in, which is great. It makes everybody feel better. This next item, I think we'll probably pass on. It's just a report of absences. I think we talked about internally maybe trying to track everybody's attendance. I don't think that the actual ordinance or the bylaws have any kind of penalty if you don't show up, but we will try to kind of keep abreast. Everybody does a good job of coming when they can, so I don't think it's a real issue. But having said all that, I think the chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. So have a motion and a second. Second. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Public forum. Anybody like the council? This is really exciting. If you signed in, if you haven't signed in, you cannot speak. No. Anybody like to say anything in the public forum venue? You have 30 minutes. No, 3 minutes. Anybody?
I'd like to bring up the old courthouse for a second and
Yes,
lighting.
Woodford,
And
yeah.
the lighting that the old courthouse has implemented looks really good. So in the windows, I don't know if anybody's seen it, they were burning this morning earlier, but so there is lighting as a part of that project, and it looks good.
Good. Anybody else? Okay, Terry, it's all yours. I
I have a
guess.
question.
Oh, yes, Larry.
And I was just looking through that, I didn't know if there was any plates in here to talk about this, but I noticed some new trash receptacles around town. Is that a universal thing? You know, we talked about that in here a couple of months ago. I mean, are they just spot changing, or what's the story on that? What's the plan?
Where'd you see those, Larry?
There's one right in front of the bank.
I got that one changed.
Huh?
I had that one changed. There's a few of them that I've called in and asked them to replace them, and they've come and put those in place of the ones, like that one was leaning over
Yeah, no, because they did something to the sidewalk.
sidewalk, yeah. So they replaced that one. I'm trying to get them to do the one on Broadway in Maine by the Hilton. And there were a couple of others I've also called in, so I don't know if they ran out of them or what. But
Yeah, I don't need
the ones I see that's I'm trying to get the one with no top on it. I called that in a few times, trying to get that changed also.
Since we talked about that 2 or 3 months ago, about universal design across the district, I was just curious.
Now it looks, I'm not gonna say worse, but now you got a whole mix and match of them now.
So the ones that are replacing them are even different than the other ones?
They're
that we have?
just the black ones.
Oh,
But they look nice.
They look
Nothing wrong
nicer,
with them.
but if you can get rid of all the brown ones again, though, it'll be nice. But you just got a whole mix and match of them.
Yeah, they started popping up on Elm Tree last fall, and then there was the farmer's market, and there was one at Gratz Park. And I sent some pictures to Catherine, and I said, what's this?
So I just continue to keep calling next call, trying to get them changed out as I see them, the ones that are messed up. The ones with no top on them at all, I don't even nobody want to just like in front of Fifth Third on the Vine Street side, trying to get that one changed also. So I'll continue to call them in.
Thanks for my 3 minutes.
Thank you, Larry. Any more trash talk? Fantastic. Anybody else have anything? Brother Sweeney?
Good morning. You'll get to know that I'm a PowerPoint guy, so I'm going to do a PowerPoint presentation this morning. And this is designed to really help give a little more context to the action items that will be before us today, and really also begin to plan out what we're going to be doing for the next 6 months. And that will then kind of lay the groundwork for what we'll be doing for the next 3 years, and I'll kind of go into that through the presentation. And you're welcome to ask questions as I go through this. A couple things. First, I want to go through that we are really embarking on a new collaboration between DLMD and DLP. There's some challenges. I think there's a solution for it, and I want to make sure we understand who our customers are, because we treat different customers in a different way as far as when we are communicating and marketing. And then we'll go over the details of the plan, the economic improvement plan, and then the budget, and then next steps. Okay. So the alphabet soup is the DLP is now came into being through the combining of the DDA, Downtown Development Authority, and the Downtown Lexington Corporation. And I'm the new kid on the block, as I say, new president, CEO. And this organization came into being to create a single point of contact for accountability and for a coordinated approach to downtown revitalization. And so we've done all this by paper, exchange of papers, right? So our challenge now is how do we create this culture and this mission that has a shared view of things, right? And so hopefully what will happen is this new organization, DLP, becomes the contracted staff for the DLMD to execute your programs and services. But through a planning process, we'll come to a shared vision and a mission and priorities. And that way we'll be marching forward together, shoulder to shoulder. And in the plan, the economic improvement plan, when you read, if you ever see partner, that means we're investing dollars alongside your dollars. So it's not just you're there alone. We're not coming to you and say, hey, just fund this. We're there side by side. Okay? All right, so challenge. As I said, we're a new organization. Sometimes I say we're an infant organization, even though we have a veteran staff. So we're fortunate in that regard. But we've been treading water for 14 months or so, right? Waiting for this process of combining to get done. And now we have a new landscape we're trying to figure out. And then for DLMD, your challenge has been no staff. You've been trying to create programs and execute them through a board process, which is very challenging. But you've still done a good job with that. The other thing that you have as a challenge is the clock is ticking, right? So you have a renewal coming up in 2020. It's important that you show positive, tangible results to your funders. And so what's that solution? We need some clarity, collaboration, decisive action. Hopefully that's what we're going to do here today. So I mentioned the planning process. We're going to start a process first internally and then moving out, right? So we're going to get our ducks in a row as a staff. So we're going to have a staff retreat, and our staff is so excited, right, staff? Right? January 26th, and then we're going to have, you see that this says boards retreat, because we're going to have a retreat with both boards, and that will be, I hope, somewhere out or about March 1st. And then how I've done these things in the past, and you'll see maybe some pictures here in the presentation, is we do work in the morning. First of all, staff will work ahead of time and provide you with information so that you'll be ready and briefed before you get there. And I call it speed retreating. It's going to last about 2.5 hours, right? So we're going to do some stuff, but we're going to cover a lot of ground. And then we're going to invite all of our stakeholders, whether they're property owners, businesses, city council members, other collaborating organizations and the public come in and see the work we've done in a public open house. We're going to ask them to write things down if they agree or not, take dots and vote, and help us crystallize our priorities. So then when we come out of there, we will have a good sense and a foundation of strong buy-in from all of our different entities, whether you're a customer, you're a funder, or a decision maker, or just someone who's interested in downtown. So that's what, and then what we'll do is create a 3-year plan. And if you've heard me say this before, why is it 3 years? Because 5 is too long, right? You'll hear me also say we have to do more, do it better, do it now. So we've got to get about that business. And then we'll create a 1-year work plan. And from that, then, each year we'll have an annual report. And it will all flow out from this. So if anyone's ever asking, what does the DLMD do, or DLP, what are you guys doing? It comes from this Bible that we created, right? This 3-year plan. And then every chapter after that is a 1-year plan. And then the annual reports. And so then, this year we're getting through the next 6 months through creating a resolution to authorize us to implement your programs and services that we've identified in the economic improvement plan. Once we create the 3-year plan, then on an annual basis, we'll have a contract with the DLMD that will have a scope of services that will identify all the things we're going to do and what the budget amounts are. And we'll plug that into the plan. And so that's how it all functions. So everyone will know what we're all up to and why. And then, but also what that does do, I'm kind of going off script here, is, in order for you can't plan perfectly, right? And you shouldn't, because things will change. But by planning well, that means you can do the open field running you need to as things come at you and stuff like that. So that doesn't mean this is the only thing we're going to do, but it helps us keep focused. And so if it doesn't fit in these silos of things that we're thinking about, it's probably something that we can't or shouldn't do. That doesn't mean we shouldn't help figure out if someone else can do them or whatever. But so a couple things there. As I mentioned, we try to operate under a do more, do it better, do it now. And these are, if you're at the annual luncheon, I kind of talked about these a little bit. These are what I call the 5 Bs of success. So I want you guys to understand what type of a culture our organization is going to be for you. And so we are results oriented and accountable. So that's the do more, do it better, do it now. We're going to be passionate. We're going to work hard, play hard, celebrate victories large and small. Be strategic, proactive, and creative. We're going to think outside the box. We will problem solve. And then be winner, possess a can-do winning attitude. That means our first answer is yes, always yes. Sometimes maybe, hardly ever no, right? So we're going to say, I would say we're going to solve for X all the time, right? And then be servant leaders. If we help others, whoever they are, collaborating organizations, other boards, other businesses, or whatever, we'll all be successful. If we're relevant and problem solvers and good partners and collaborators, then we'll all succeed. So that's how we're going to operate in playing the sandbox. Okay, so this may sound rudimentary or whatever, but I just want to kind of go over kind of who you think our customer is. And I chatted with some of you folks already, so you kind of have that idea, but who is the DLMD customer? Anyone? Property owners. That's the primary customer, right? That's why you exist. For the DLP, it's similar. It's our funders, right? Your DLMD, your funder is the property owners. Our funders are city, also our members, and people who, I guess, give us dollars. That's our primary customer. But what's also important is who is our customer's customer? And that's where we all share something in common, and that is the person who comes to put $1 down in front of our businesses every day, right? Property owners are only happy if their tenants are happy, right? And or if they're making money somehow. And so we got to make sure that we're doing both. Our economic improvement plan has to address the needs of both of these. And so that's hopefully what we've tried to do in this first 6 months. So we're going to dive into the details. You can follow along either on the budget side or on the programmatic side. And first thing is, in the economic improvement plan, this is already what you're doing. And so the first column we have, if you turn to the budget side, the first column talks about the budget that we've created based upon the original budget that you got passed by the council. The second column is what you've spent to date, and that column used to be in color, it's not now, but the second column is what you've spent to date. The third column of the budget is what, given this economic improvement plan, we will spend or invest in over the next 6 months. And the last column then is what the year-end projection of expenditures will be for all those programs. So starting at the top, the cleaning and beautification, you've already contracted with block by block, so that is not changing with this updated economic improvement plan. What is changing is if you remember from the last meeting, and maybe it happened a couple meetings before this because I wasn't here, but there are some safety concerns in the evening and with transient behavior and pain handling. So David's been doing a good job of utilizing the resources he has of 4 ambassadors, but he's had to string those folks up into a longer period of time. So some of those folks are working at 10 at night doing things of trying to be a safety presence. So with what we've done is, I'm going to go forward and then come back. You'll see that we've allocated $25,000 for 3 months, March through June, to put 2 safety ambassadors on. They will be trained and do only safety. That will include escort services and transient contacts and checking in with our businesses to see how they're doing. They are specifically trained for that. That will allow our clean ambassadors to do what they're trained to do and do it in a more efficient, effective, and visible way. And so those two in some ways go hand in glove. There's only one budgetary implication, and that's the $25,000 increase to create 2 safety ambassadors for 3 months. When we get to the 3-year plan and the 1-year work plan, we will then integrate that in to the next year's budget. Marketing. So in marketing and business recruitment and development, you'll see a couple things that are really important that are geared towards research that will help us with our board retreat process. But first thing under the budget, and I think under the economic improvement plan, is special projects. That is what you've done to date, and so there is no budget implication. You'll see it in the second column. I think it's 17,825 or something like that. 18,725. So that's just what you've done today. We put another $500 in case there's something general that you need to do, but that's what that is. The next thing is the perception survey, and we're going to go into a little bit greater detail on that. That's going to help us identify our customer, how they use downtown, and survey also our businesses to make sure we understand what's going on with them so we can make effective programs. And then the brand, website, and strategic marketing plan we'll talk about here in just a second. So the perception survey in your packet is a document that looks like this. We'll kind of go through that. I've done, for organizations I've worked for, I've done at Indianapolis Downtown Incorporated, Corpus Christi Downtown Management District, these perception surveys utilizing German McCarty. German McCarty is a market research firm. Both the principals worked, I think, for over 20 years with the Simon Property Group and have done surveying across the country. In fact, they've surveyed the top 50 downtowns with this same survey set of questions, although we personalize it with some of the questions. So we're able to compare our results with our peers. So you'll see in the survey we have national, in this document, we have the column national/Texas, because this is an example of what we did with Corpus Christi. So we were able to pull out our peer Texas cities to see how we compared with them. So anyway, this is who we've utilized. I do have a quote from her to do both the consumer survey that would include 5 counties, all right, and develop the surveying, anyway, science is that they will create a data set that reflects the demographics of the 5-county region, and I think she said it'll have plus or minus 7% variation. And so what do we use this for? Well, we need to understand who our customer is, where they live, how much they make, how they use downtown, how much they spend downtown, and how much time they spend downtown, what they like about downtown. In addition, we need to understand our business operators, what's going on with them, right? Are they having a successful year? Do they think we're doing the right thing? Do they think we ought to be doing something else? And so forth. So those are the two data sets. We're trying to get to both of our customers, both sets, right? Our customer and our customer's customer. So here's just a Corpus Christi data, right? So if you look at here, we have the user and non-user, and you'll find, and this is not atypical for downtowns, the downtown user is a little more affluent, has more disposable income, and is slightly younger, right? This is how they use downtown. One of the key questions we ask is, have you been downtown the last 6 months? And generally, if you're doing good, it should be above 70%. And also, by the way, not only, and we're going to talk about how we establish is downtown important, but I think this shows something that downtowns in general, that downtown hopefully here, is the only place that everyone feels it's their neighborhood. Everyone feels downtown is their neighborhood, right? And so, as I say, it's the civic, corporate, and cultural identity of the city. And so this is good to have a strong visitorship. It talks about the number of visits, and then these are open questions, primary reason for your visit, and then this is from a list. How much they spend, how much time they spend. What about accessibility? How does our customer feel our downtown is accessible? And then the environment. Do they feel safe? Do they think it's clean? If you look here, Corpus Christi still had some ways to go with their peer Texas cities. Now, the non-user, why don't you come downtown? Corpus Christi had a real problem. No reason to make a trip, there's nothing there for me. That's a big deal. All right? That means your product isn't competing with the suburbs. You're not really being effective. And then this is from the list. They also felt, yeah, it's too difficult to get there. You got to remember that the non-user is a little bit older and less disposable income. So some of these things are not necessarily a surprise. Then we also will test programs. So this is, what would you like to see in downtown or see us doing? And this is for Corpus Christi. We tested things that we were interested in doing. So this is their university. It's a Texas A&M University, sorry.
We're not, we won.
Okay, so now we understand our customer. We will utilize that data at our planning retreat, right? That'll be one of the things that we'll review. And then, so that's something we'll do right away, get that started, so we have that. This, and we already have the person that we would like to use. And we've checked in with Kevin and folks, and it's below a threshold where you have to do an RFP, and there's a single source kind of approach to this that they are fine with. This is going to be further out, and there will be an RFP process. By the way, let me back up the perception survey. You'll see that it's a $20,000 budget item, or total. You'll see the budget says it's $10,000 because we're going to invest $10,000. Remember, it's partner. We're going to partner to do that. Same thing with this. We're going to partner. It's I've done this twice now in 4 years for 2 different geographies of downtown and Corpus Christi. We allocated $75,000 for both to get a strategic brand for downtown, a website, social media tools, and a strategic marketing plan. So we need to understand what the unique selling proposition is for downtown that makes it relevant to our customers. Create that brand, and then you'll see, we'll go through it a little bit more, but that's the idea. The cost of this, again, 75, we've allocated in the budget 45,000. We would invest 30.
Terry, will this be done after you have the results of the perception?
Yeah, so here's kind of what will happen. So there's one more thing that we'll have for research that we'll have available to us at the planning process, the retreat. we're gonna start the RFP this quarter, but we're gonna do it in the second quarter after we've had the planning retreat, because my hope is, we'll put this up there that we think we ought to be doing this, and hopefully people will say, yes, yes, yes. And so we'll be prepared to pull the trigger right away. As opposed to, if we wait for the planning retreat, and they say, yes, we gotta do it, now it's 6 months later before we get any results. So to a certain degree, we have to kind of act as if we know what we're doing, and we're testing stuff, but we're gonna keep marching, right? We gotta set them up and be ready to hit them. So that's this process. So by the end of the fiscal year, we will have all these things in place, and then that means we can launch the next year with getting after marketing, driving customers to our businesses. Okay, so for Corpus Christi, this was the reality of things. So why did they actually didn't have a downtown organization. The management district was the only thing, and it was a subset of downtown. So we were creating a downtown umbrella brand because they had no front door to, there's 6 other districts in their downtown. They had no other thing there. So creating a front door is really important. And here's the process. It will be very similar. You'll say it's deja vu all over again. Very similar to what we'll do with the planning process. We'll have a kickoff, right? And we'll invite everyone who is interested, same kind of folks, right? Our funders, our stakeholders, businesses, our customers. And we're going to tell them what we're going to do. Hey, guess what? We are going to develop a brand, and we want to get to where we understand how to communicate what's happening downtown to you more effectively. And ask them, what do you think about downtown? Not with what we should be doing, but what do you like about it? You know, what does it say to you, and how is it relevant? And then we'll go through the process of working with the agency to develop it. We also have focus groups, and then we'll end it with a rollout reception. So then we'll launch it. Say, hey, we're excited. Here's the new us kind of thing. And again, it's got to be something that brand has to be something that resonates with our customers, works for our stakeholders, unites and excites, and it's a little bit aspirational and captures the imagination, right? So we got to get something that really puts us front and center. If you go to other downtowns and see some of their websites, it's like going, wow, I got to go there, right? We need that. I got to go there feel.
So this could be a new name for Downtown Lexington Partnership, a new logo versus the outline of the skyline, that kind of thing.
So here's the thing. If, let's say DLP had existed for 10 years, and DL&D had existed for 10 years. So folks know who you are and stuff. The key message should be come downtown. Downtown, the destination is what we need to market, right? Because we have 2 customers. We got to get our customer to come downtown and spend money more often. So that's what it should be. So it's going to be a downtown website. Now we'll say Downtown Lex, but it will be destination forward, and will be echoes or a secondary message along with DL&D. But maybe for the next year, because no one knows us, we're going to be a little more organizational forward than what we will be in the long term, right? Because we have 2 sets of customers. So we have to do a good job of communicating who we are, what we do, but this should be toward driving customers. If everyone has more customers, everyone's going to be happy, right? So that's the key thing. All right, any other questions? Thanks for asking that.
But Terry, to Woodford's point, I think Woodford, Lawrence, and Paula and I, when we were meeting, we kind of used the DLP name as a placeholder until you were hired ultimately to determine what the long-term name should be.
We're not marketing experts, and I think you could maybe come up with something catchier than Downtown Lexington Partnership, although that's a formal name and everything, but something catchy. And,
I'm glad you brought that up. I haven't gone into this detail, but you're like going, oh, so you're going to have an RFP. Well, how's that going to work? Well, a couple things. One, we'll probably work with folks to see what should be included in the RFP, right? And then we'll establish a selection committee that will involve both boards, right? So we can't just kind of go out and go, we're going to go do our thing, goodbye, right? We have to make sure that we're all continuing to march forward together. So we'll have a selection committee that involves both boards. It won't be a large selection committee, right? Because we can't have the committee in the whole, and we have to move fast. But we'll do that and keep keep moving.
And we've used the same logo with the outline of downtown
Yeah.
for years, and it's
Yeah.
probably a little bit tired.
Yeah, and you know, interesting, a lot of folks, brands should last 5-ish years or whatever, or brand campaigns. Right now, a lot of folks are not utilizing skylines because they change, hopefully if you're being successful, and stuff like that, and they're simplifying their logos and things like that. So we'll see. The other thing is, once we select an agency, that will become an agency of record for us to utilize for all that we do. So that'll be incorporated into a budget, a retainer for next year. So we won't say, all right, we're done, we did it, right? No, we've got to keep it going. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with the skyline, but it's just a simple pencil drawing of
Yeah.
the skyline. It's just very basic.
Yeah. Okay, good. And I say, by the way, I kind of just said, hey, we're done, we're not that, right? I've always said that the branding process is the start line, not the finish line. And it's got to drive everything we do, right? So it should, once we have a brand, it should go throughout our marketing, our business recruitment, our programming, right? Who are we as a downtown? Well, when we figure that out, our programming should reflect that. It should help drive investments and then improvements. Actually, our plan is, and there's a small amount in this, I forgot to mention that, beautification, and I think it says environment, right? Well, we want to do environmental branding. What's our new brand? We need to put that out there, right? And so I'm going to let the cat out. No, I shouldn't let the cat out of the bag. Anyway, the brand will be in the environment, so that whatever we become, it's not going to be a secret. You have to put dollars behind it to drive it and build it. So we'll do that both through marketing and environmental branding. So, and that's it with improvements. Okay, any questions on that? So, with marketing, we have research to understand our customer, and then we're going to develop a brand that will happen after our retreat, and it'll be an RFP process. The cost is $75,000. We're asking for $45,000 in this plan. DLP will invest $30,000. Okay. Business recruitment. Let's see. I want to make sure I didn't skip anything. Okay, property improvement grant. So you have a grant program that, at least my observation is, there's no direction to it. And so successful programs, and there's a sheet in your packet that looks like this, that you ought to give a one-pager of what you want the program to achieve. And that should come out of our 3-year planning process. What are our priorities? In some ways, to help our property owners in our built environment. And so we have to put what our priorities are and create a program that's a 50% match and invest in our property owners to achieve the programmatic goals that we think are important. As opposed to waiting for people to say, hey, I have a great idea, I'm gonna come here. And then you have to figure out what's the lens I make an assessment on, right? You don't have that lens. So you create the lens based upon the priorities you're establishing. You create an application process in an application. You want to make sure they have the financial capability to complete the project. They complete the project first, and you rebate 50%. Our program was up to $10,000. And we had different priorities. One was lighting, right? So we had Beverly was talking about, well, hey, we need architectural lighting improvement, and we need safety lighting improvement. Well, this grant program, out of that planning process, we have a lighting program that goes all the way from light as art and festival programming all the way down to the basic of, hey, let's make sure you have good safety and architectural lighting. This should be able to...
How popular was that in Corpus Christi? How many
Good,
properties
yeah. Oh, gosh.
took you up on
Well, let's say between Indianapolis and Corpus Christi, we probably had over 80 projects leveraging $400,000 or allocating $400,000. That was, I think, I'm trying to read my resume. Leveraged $2.5 million in new investment. So if you do it right and get people, the other thing is I've mentioned to folks is right now you're just kind of, I don't know, fishing or waiting. You've got to, now when you make your priorities, we're going to go prospect, right? And that means we're going to go knock on the door of the property owner and say, hey, have you thought about this? Your property we want to make sure you get this, or we've identified this as a problem, or here's an opportunity. Why wait and just let, I think we have to be intentional. So we'll do that. Okay, so then this next thing, downtown's impact. This is the second research item that we need to do right away in time for our board retreat. If you look at the budget item, it says 10,000. We've allocated 5 from the DLP. I say we've allocated, we will be allocating when we meet 10 days from now. 10 days or something, next, not Monday, but Monday, right? Okay. That's our intention. We'll be creating a 6-month plan budget that will include these items. So downtown's impact, we need to understand, I think, reestablish why is downtown important as an economic engine for this region, for this city. As we have merged, things I've heard people voice concerns is people think, oh, okay, when you merge, you'd save money, you don't need our support. Right? So we need to reestablish that. As I tried to mention it kind of in a subtle way in the annual luncheon, is that we may have merged to create a single point of contact, but the challenges and the issues have not diminished. In fact, the expectations are probably raised. And so we need not less, we need more. So we better establish that, the importance of downtown, and to our decision makers, those being council members, right? And you know what? I'm going to shout out to council members. You're on our team. But sometimes decision makers need something to hang their hat on, right? If everyone says, oh no, you shouldn't be doing that, they get too much, and they don't have anything else to hang their hat on to say why the constituent's not correct, we're not helping them. So we need to help them understand, here's the importance, and give them data, hard data, not just, hey, my opinion is this. So I think we have to do that. And the second thing is we need to do a best practices management districts. So we'll scan the horizon, this consultant, scan the horizon to figure out what people do in the region and actually to be successful as a district. And then we'll have that at our disposal when we meet as a board retreat. And we'll say, hey, this makes a lot of sense, let's do this. And let's do it this way. And so we'll reestablish that as our foundation. So when we come out of the gate, hopefully we'll have a good plan that has a solid basis in researching our customers and also researching across the country and reestablishing that, hey, downtown's important and this is why we got to be doing this. All right? So 10,000 from this organization, our budget will allow us to do 5,000. Recruitment materials. So we have to help developers and property owners recruit businesses, right? We want to recruit more development. How do we tell that story of what's happening downtown and why this is a great opportunity or a great time to you invest or locate your business, right? And we'll do it in collaboration, by the way, folks have asked, with Commerce Lex. So this isn't something that we're just going to go off and do ourselves, but it's a different type of recruiting. And so we would recommend, this is what I did in Indianapolis and in Corpus Christi, developing a recruitment brochure and developing a recruitment plan. So the brochure for recruitment services in general, we've asked for 5,000 from here. We would put in 5,000 as well. And this is what it, that's a property improvement grant application. So this is kind of what it says. What are the top 5 reasons? By the way, there's a letter from the mayor. Hey, we need you downtown. Invest. It's a great time. Our project pipeline, what's happening? There is great momentum, right? We need to capture that and tell that story. What are just general market statistics? Visitor and tourism, right? That's part of our market. So we are talking mostly today about the local customer, but we also have the visitor who comes in. So we need to tell that story. And then residential market. Why is it a good time to be a residential developer in downtown? And what type of quality of life will my residents have? And that'll tell me if I can recruit, if I can actually lease the apartments. And by the way, what's kind of important and part of all this is the research, right? First, we got to get the information. So that'll be something Ethan and I will be working on a lot. So we got to gather that information and then track that annually. So one of the things, I haven't talked about this, but one of the things that we have to do, is in our plan, right, the 3-year, 1-year plan, we have to benchmark. And when we talk about benchmark, I always say that information is one of our core products. So we have to benchmark not only our activity, but the health of downtown, because our activity should be impacting the health of downtown. But it also then feeds into telling the story. Hopefully it's a positive one. And so that's what we'll utilize this information for. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. So lastly, we're to the administration. I talked about benchmarking and communication, so that's really important. And I put that in under administration because we will make sure that we do a good job of helping you tell the story to your customer, which is the property owner. Right? We have to do a good job of that. In addition, we will make sure that in the planning process that in next year's work plan will include the initiation of the renewal process. We've got to start building that case, engaging folks, and developing the new next renewal period, however long that is. Should it be 5 or should it be 10? Should you swing for the fence? Because it's hard to accomplish a lot in 5 years, right? You're finding that out. Development process is a long time. It's a long time and it's tough. So 5 years is really short. And the planning retreat, so we've asked, we're working with Catherine to help us get most of everything sponsored if we can. And Ethan's been helping with that with the real estate side. But if we can't, we want to, we've allocated $3,000 for the board retreat, for all the materials, public open house and stuff like that. And one thing that's good is you would be a very visible sponsor, not only a participant, but a visible sponsor, and something that as your property owners, your customers come through the door will see, oh wow, so you have a hand in this. So it'll be, I think, a good return on your investment. So that's it. So next steps. We have 2 resolutions to pass. One to approve the plan and budget, and the second one is to authorize us to essentially act on your behalf to execute the programs and services. And we're utilizing resolutions I think are really important so that there is a clear understanding of what the board has, what their intent was and what they've done. And so that stands out as opposed to just an agenda item in the minutes. And so it becomes a really important thing. We'll provide monthly updates, 3-year, work towards a 3-year strategic plan, 1-year work plan, and then we'll develop a contract and scope of services so we can have a long-term relationship that is, everyone understands. I think that's it. Questions?
Did everyone understand the 2 motions that Terry's referring to? One is to approve the revised budget, which is basically he's gone through and I hope he's looked at it. I mean, we're adding quite a bit of expense to our existing budget, some of which was previously approved by the city. We went initially, but we never utilized, and then other things that are new to the game. Any questions about those additions?
Mr. Chair, I will say both the Vice Mayor and I in separate meetings had a conversation with Terry yesterday, and we're at least I'm supportive of the studies, and we understand that we need to get rolling. With the changes in the budget, just for the record, with the changes in the budget, and if you did side by side to what you presented last May and was approved in June, this will require another presentation to the council as an amended budget for approval for the remainder of the year. You can go ahead and start these others, but it changes the cap total, so it will require the council to review and approve.
So we'll need to do that as soon as possible, and then basically come back in May for the budget for next year, right? So it'll be 2 presentations, really. So we're going to need to do that as soon as possible. I figured that was going to be the case. I wanted to run this by you all, but okay. Okay.
Steve, this is a 415 matchup with what our revenues are projected to be.
Yes, plus we still have the surplus from last year. So
We have a little cushion.
Yeah, we have a little cushion. And one comment also, some of this stuff here is that it's not going to be recurring expenses. They're one-time expenses to kind of get the ball rolling. So I think we're in good shape there.
I see a lot of what we've have done over the last couple of years as being clean and safe. You all know how I kind of feel about that, struggle with it. You know, is that a city service? You know, should downtown be clean anyway? Should it be safe anyway? So I see a need for a lot of this marketing in conjunction with clean and safe, and not be all about clean and safe. And you know, we spent tons of hours merging this group, hiring Terry, nationwide search. In my opinion, I think we've got to give him a chance here to come out and show something. And I think this will show the property owners too, eventually, which timing is critical, that we're doing more than just clean and safe and putting some art up on the walls. You know. So,
How do you feel about the additional 2 safety ambassadors? You good with that?
so somewhat. I mean, I had a good question on the 2 safety ambassadors. What makes them so different than the other ambassadors? Are they going to be trained in safety? They're not carrying weapons, are they?
No, they're not carrying weapons.
Right.
But they will be trained in safety, and that's primarily all they'll concentrate on.
Right.
They'll deal more with.
I think it's March to June. That's an important time,
Just
you know, to have more.
Yeah.
So I think we can give it a shot.
Much more interaction.
Yeah, and they are, we've gotten a quote, and they're actually a different pay scale, so they're a higher type of, more interactive person probably. And as David said, get special training for that. And we'll make sure, the thing now that kind of begins to happen, as I mentioned, is you now have a contracted staff. Right, let's everyone on staff raise your hand. So we're an army of 6 that now we're managing and trying to scan the rights and say, what should we be doing, working with David, identifying those things, engaging property owners, and problem solving. So they'll be deployed, and I think with a 10,000-foot level, as well as boots on the ground kind of detail.
Just a quick question, I don't know if David or Terry, on the safety officer side, how will they, if there's an issue, will they approach that issue, or will they call police? Or, I mean, the question is, how do you train them for their safety as well, especially if they're not carrying?
Are they going to use a cell phone or radios or what? Yeah.
Well, I was a safety ambassador in Louisville, and a lot of times, a lot of the concerns that they'll have are things that an ambassador will be trained for where they can handle themselves. Now, anytime, and that's in any situation, if it's called for to call the police, they'll be able to, and hopefully we'll have in place what we've always been talking about as far as direct contact with the police and be able to get someone to respond quicker. Now, with having safety ambassador, I see it'll be more of a presence where people will see them more. Because with a safety ambassador, they're also on bicycle. They'll be able to go back and forth, and they'll be able to cover more area. But as far as their safety concerned, they'll be trained we do training monthly as far as showing them how to deal with situations, as far as positioning themselves, how to approach people. They'll go through all the type of training for that. So any situation where it calls for the police, they know how to just stand back and call the police.
Yeah. I think also, David mentioned a visible security presence, right? That their uniforms will be slightly different, say security or safety patrol.
Safety.
Yeah, and training. We've talked about communications with the police. We've already had a meeting with, getting to know these folks, because there are 5 police officers. One was the assistant chief. And we let them know about this and talked about coordination with the bike patrol that's on duty. So they become eyes and ears of police and a visible presence, as well as an interactive tool that if someone doesn't feel safe, they can escort them. The businesses can call them. We'll make sure that they're stopping in and say, hey, I'm here. If you ever need anything, you just call us. We'll be there, like that. So it's also a customer service thing for your stakeholders, right? We're there for you. We know it's an issue, but we're going to be proactive and help you.
Just one more, couple things on this. The basic difference between room and dustpan when you're looking down, and we don't want them to back off on that to an eyes-up approach in different training. I think it makes all kinds of sense, so I totally support that. And then I think, just in terms of the budget, as opposed to my world where we're trying to save up money because we have millions of dollars of repairs that are always needed in the garages, we should sit on money. These are some really good plans, I think, set forward-thinking approach to this organization. So I like the way we're planning out to use the money in this fiscal year and going towards specific things that help plan their future. So I like it.
Anybody else?
Hey,
One thing to
what-
point out, oh, Larry, go ahead.
You know, what do the safety people typically do, see? I mean, they'll stand around and watch the games fighting, I guess. I mean,
No,
what?
they're not
what-
doing that. They'll interact more with the transits, and then it's like, as far as the panhandling, they'll interact more with that.
Yeah.
Like from me being down here at night, lately, the last few weeks, I've been staying late at night, and our presence now, where it's gotten to where they'll walk off when they see us now. So with the safety ambassadors, they'll always be around. So it won't stop them, but it certainly will slow them down. And as far as that, I've always said that we can't stop them, but we still have to work on getting the public before they try to stop giving them money. We have to put out there that it's not helping them. But like I said, with our presence now, every time they see me, they leave. And it's mainly like 5 of them that's always, and it's always over on Short Street between Broadway and Mill, at that surface lot over there. So we spend a lot of time in that area on Main and Short, and we'll go all the way east over by Carson's now. We're trying to, so with the safety ambassadors, you'll be able to cover more of that area and just concentrate just on that. And the longer you're doing it with our presence, they'll automatically just, because they know they know I don't hesitate to call the police on them. Police always tell me that they can't do anything, but I always, it's kind of like insist that they still send someone out to at least come over there. Because I've been out there till 10 o'clock at night, and I might see a patrol car go through maybe 1 or 2 times.
What are the working hours of the safety ambassador?
It'll be from, we haven't set that yet, but it'll mainly be from like 1:30 to 10 at night.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval of both resolutions.
We have a motion to approve both resolutions. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great. Got it. What else we got? Oh, David, you have a report you want to give us, what we're doing, block by block?
Yeah, we pretty much touched on all there what I was gonna talk about. Because like in the statistics, you'll see for December, the number for the panhandlers, it went up a lot. It's like 40, I got 43 on it for the month. And then that was our passive, and then you have the 7 aggressive. And like I said, a lot of times those are the same individuals. And I mean, Gary will tell you, we got Patrick, his wife, and there's a couple of other people. They've been barred off the property. So a lot of times the police, I've spoken with the police, and they've asked me if I see them on the property, if I can get a picture of them, I can take that picture to them, and then they can take out a summons for them for trespassing or whatever. But like I said, my hands are tied as far as if they're on the sidewalk, there's nothing we can do. But like I said, now, by them seeing me all the time, knowing that I call the police, they'll leave now. But that was the biggest issue that I had, that increase in the barricades. And I've gotten everybody to start, we've had that smart system updated, and everybody's getting a little more comfortable with it now. So just like the increase in the litter numbers, that comes from everybody's putting their information in for it.
Anybody?
Any word about the tree wells and how we can utilize doing that in-house versus spending the extra money for the rest of the trees?
Of course,
Not yet. I was trying to get Mr. Francis to give me his recipe for it. You say you can go online to find out how they mix it and pour it and everything. And I gotta find out how much it'll cost for the ingredient to get all the materials for it and everything.
I hope we can do that. I think it's better to ask him through those places.
Because there's,
How many more did you say?
I think it's 14 around the square. It's either 14 or 18. And like I said, the ones that are on Vine Street, I would worry about right now because
Yeah,
of
we
the
don't know
Town
what's gonna
Branch
happen.
project. But the ones on the square, the main ones that need to be done.
And that was at an average of $600 per well, was that originally was quoted?
Something like that. It came to 4,800 for the, pretty much, that was like 7 of them because of one large one.
I just think we need to
Move on that in the spring if we possibly can.
Let's talk about the tree wells, not the rain gardens.
Just a tree well, not the rain gardens.
The flat, not the raised.
Right.
Anybody else have any questions, David? How'd you keep your people alive during that cold? I was worried about you out there, man.
I bought a bunch of toe warmers and hand warmers.
Wow.
Oh yeah, no, they're calling for bad weather this week. I know we don't have a snow plan, but I was planning on going out buying some salt. At least because they said it might freeze up, so I'm at least going to salt the ramps this weekend if I need to. I'm gonna be prepared to do that if I have to.
Okay, that's good. I'm sorry Jake's not here to hear that. Steve, will pass that on? Okay. Any other business while we're all here? Terry, thank you so much. Appreciate it. I guess if that's it, we'll stand adjourned.
Will we be meeting in February?
Are we meeting in February? Answer is yes. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.